Hell yeah! And we're back.
Morning!
Wow! In part. Play. I say. I can turn it back to. Wait, what did we do? Oh, let's go! Hold up. That makes sense now. That makes sense now. Jody, 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 Jody. Look, we opened up the box.
Beaming up. Smoke's resonating.
Spike down.
Warfare.
30 seconds left. There. One by one. One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Last on main.
In sight. There.
Hold, don't push.
Smoking back.
10 seconds left.
Nice
Wait,
ace,
what the
let's
fuck?
go.
Okay.
Smoke's up.
Good job. Which is also an amazing reason for to rate her right now. Okay, she's gone for a second now. She stood up from the chair. That's fine. She's in game, so she'll probably move back in a second.
My social.
Those do be my socials. Go check out my socials. Don't clip that, by the way. We talk about your subs. We don't talk about my subs. We talk about your subs.
Scanning ahead. Out of charges.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Yeah!
Magnifico!
GG!
Oui, oui, la vacherie!
La vacherie qui fait les verres.
So chill.
We have spy. He took spy. He indeed took it.
What the fuck? He's up.
Shot dark.
So whoa, it's not Fortnite.
No! Look at him all right, we can see. Give me a second to reveal the outcome of my prediction. You'll see. 3, 2, 1, go.
Get out of my way.
Scanning ahead.
I failed.
Enemy marked.
Why were they all?
Why does Wele have money?
Because waylaying.
Wele, suck my book.
Revealing area.
Really suck my pussy.
Admit.
Heaven.
What?
Okay, nobody here.
It looks so cool. You don't know how hurting this is. Holy! Get it to this one. You got one problem. Oh, Monique.
Cheeky little roulette.
If you like, I only main Sova, so if you want me to perform really bad,
Oh shit.
Then we can risk it, but it's not on me then, you know?
Nah, I'm trying to win, not gonna lie.
Harvey?
Oh, not to
Arby, chill out. Satchel out.
The heck?
Wow.
Wasn't there like a smoke between the two of you?
No.
Hmm.
Are you cheating?
I saw the Sage kill.
I hope you're not
Guys,
cheating.
can we clip that? Can we clip that?
Nothing like was cheap.
Where the heck is the sing-a-song one? Okay, get back your points. Get back your points. Ah, bitches. It's crazy. Yeah, and you can do it on mod view on mobile these days.
They're basically both.
I agree.
Yeah, they're both low. Brimstone is literally one shot.
Right
Yeah.
here. Right here. Watching here.
One enemy remaining.
What? That was aiming for the brim, but he was already dead.
Oh wow. What a nice shot, bro. Good job.
Thank you. Here.
30 seconds
Spike.
left. Spike down mid. One enemy remaining.
Ah.
Serena.
Scanning ahead.
Oh,
Watch deadlock.
Last player standing.
Yo, you can send your shot.
10 seconds, 10 seconds, just play time.
My territory. 10 seconds left.
no! What? This is not it. Does it have enough time? Oh, hell no.
Clutch.
No way.
I thought it was far enough.
Bullets hurt.
What the hell? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. I hope you're doing amazing. It is the 15th of April, 2026, and it's the 25:15 on the clock, 21:16, my bad. And we're playing random games today. Why not? Let's start with some Overwatch, and we'll see where we go. Hello, I'm over here, and it's been warm, so I'm wearing t-shirt today. I'm wearing t-shirt. How you guys doing? Hope you're doing amazing. Let's go. DSI, thank you for claiming first. How you doing? How you doing? What's up? How the game's been? Beebs, how you doing? Good to see you. Oh, thank you for claiming second as well. How was your day, everybody?
Morning.
It's welcome back as well, Phoebes. How you been?
Morning.
When was warming up offline? We know it. In Overwatch, I was playing before stream, like an hour ago or something. Then I have food, and then it started stream. Datey Coin, how you doing, dude? Dude, thank you for claiming third. How is you? How is you? Been a long while seeing you guys. Good to see you. It's nice seeing you guys. I'm well, thank you. Thank you. Today I was a bit drained. So I was thinking, like, should I still stream or not? And in the end, I was like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's have some fun. So how about you guys? Been too long. Hey, I'm glad to have you guys back here. It's nice. It's nice. Hope you've been well. What's been up for you guys? What's new? I know Phoebes has been streaming some more. Hey, didn't I see you stream like a month or two back or something like that? I don't know. You do post it in the Discord when you go live sometimes, which is nice. I can lurk a little bit. You playing with the viewers? I'm pretty much always am. Doesn't really differ that much these days. We're starting off with some Overwatch. Why not? I am playing.
You talk, I'm here.
Oh, you just broke it. How you doing? Welcome in. On Overwatch, I play ranked, but you know, some fun games too, just for fun.
I don't know if I can play ranked with you.
Probably not. I'm super bad.
Not because of that. I never really played ranked before.
Oh.
Besides like one or twice. So actually I might be able to. Who knows?
We'll see about that. Yes, started playing Pacopia. Yeah, how is Pacopia though? I've never touched it or never seen much of people streaming it because I don't know, it's not a game that pulls me to watch or something maybe. But it seems like it's a farming game, kind of like, you know, lots of other games. I was gonna say Core Keeper. I couldn't get to the name. Core Keeper and I mean Core Keeper is different though. Probably more like Minecraft, Terraria and such.
Oh
So-
look, you can buy pretty pixels in Overwatch again.
Of course. There's always money to be spent in there. It's a fun, right up your alley Pokemon Cross with the Animal Crossing.
I always need to hate. Sorry.
What?
I always need to hate on this game just a little bit when I'm coming back, you know?
But why?
Multiple reasons.
Well,
I played this game way too much, that's why.
okay, so have you played it ever since it came back to be in Overwatch?
Yeah.
Okay. Right up
I
my
have
alley.
played a little bit, not too much. Just like testing the new characters out and stuff like that.
Fair.
Like the newest one, I didn't play it. I have no clue what she does.
Yeah, fair enough. Right up your alley,
Yeah.
Pokemon Cross with Animal Crossing. That's fair. It's like Animal Crossing never really was my thing because, you know, it's the voices. The voices are messing me up. Honestly, that's what I saw first, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna play that. Secondly, I just think it's not really my type of game. It's too much farm, too less of the rest. Which is why Minecraft is funny for me because it's like half everything, you know, kind of like it's all balanced out for me, which is nice. I don't know. That's why I don't know if Pokemon Cross is gonna be good for me. Pokemon Pacopia. I knew you were gonna say this. Yeah, I told you before, right? It's horror. It's horror for me. They used to scare me. Nowadays I can deal with them, but that used to scare me. I was like, oh my god, it's okay. It's not that much that it's scary. It's just eerie. It's eerie to me. Like, you know, having that weird feeling of like, it's not like the tone is nice or anything. It's like it's like it's specifically in a certain tone that I just like a dissonance. I don't like it. That's why I like Pacopia 2, as there is actual quests instead of just a sandbox. That's nice. It's uncanny. It is uncanny. I mean, it's very, very unique as well.
Can I cut through real quick? How
No.
do I add you? Oh, okay. Well, I'll just
let me
focus
see.
on
I
my
got.
burger now.
Hey, you're the one breaking in.
I know, but
Check
I
chat.
don't know
Check
how to
chat.
add you.
Check chat.
Yeah, but I don't know if you have it on Steam because that works different.
No, it doesn't.
No?
Nope.
I don't know.
You just have to add it. That's it.
I'm just a dumbass. Don't worry about.
No,
oh,
you're
yeah,
not.
Wait,
No.
you're
How
on
dare you
stream.
say you're a dumbass? How dare you? Damn it. Respect
it's
yourself. Damn it.
Oh no, I'm always saying that to myself. It's just like an inside joke. Don't worry, guys. I don't actually hate myself.
That's good.
That's a joke.
That's good. What rank were you last season? I was silver something. Silver 2 and silver 3, if I remember correctly. I just played 3 tank games and I D-ranked again, so great. 3 losses. Perfect. I love this game. Where do we start playing this game again? Yeah. people hating on the tank, of course. Like I'm the one that's like, yo, I'm a tank, right? So I'm the one that has to push so that people can join me, and you know, just protect me and fight the enemy like as a team. So what happens is I push, and everybody just goes back. I was like, hello, guys, and then you're dead. And then they're like, oh, what is this tank doing? Like, I'm the one supposed to be in the front, like, pushing. What the hell?
Back in the day, we actually had a meme about that, like in Overwatch, that you just saw like Ryan going in, just saying like, "Okay, guys, we're going in," like a little short movie, and then just a Mercy on their phone, just like, yeah, and then he's dying, and then she just like, "Oh wait, I was supposed to do something."
Oopsie. Yeah. And then they complain about it. That's the crazy part. Oh wait, I got a button for this. Can I find my button back? Let's checking.
I also.
Yeah, it works. Ultra balling. There you go. I got buttons for it now, guys. I finally got buttons for it. Thank God. Okay, I got gold too, but only played a few as well. Good job. Who do you guys play? What are your heroes? Put them in the chat. For me, it's mainly Junker Queen Orisa. For tank,
I love
you.
Sorry. No, like, you don't ever hear anyone say anymore you're maining Junker Queen. I love Junker Queen.
Why not?
Well,
Junker Queen is amazing.
I know. I don't get it. Why people hate her so much.
There is
like,
one problem. There's one problem. There is just way too many too strong tanks, and she's pretty much a very softy if it comes to a tank.
She's very up close.
Yeah.
She kind of balance out about her scratch damage, obviously.
Yeah. That's the thing.
The problem is a lot of the tanks now have like ways to push her back.
Yep. That's the thing.
You literally have the Minya that literally can
Oh
say,
God,
"You're
let's
gonna get away from me
let's
now."
not go to the Minya. Oh my God, I don't like that one. Okay, then we have for our DPS Hanzo. I have been playing Hanzo less and less because it's just not working for me at some point. I don't know why.
Hanzo
but
is
something is
into the ground, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that's why he's been feeling off.
He can't insta one shot anymore.
Okay, so I used to be good with him, and like I'm not anymore. I'm not anymore. I was like, what is happening? So I go to Pharah, or I go to Junkrats, but Junkrat's not really my forte anymore somehow. So I guess Pharah and Widowmaker, I guess. Then on heals, Kiriko. Of course, Kiriko. And what is it? Who else? Probably the cat, but I haven't played it much yet. Jin Queen is great, very underrated hero.
That I see in the cat, and this is something I generally think the cat would actually make meta, is the beam. When you're doing that beam, right, to pick them up, you're not really doing anything until they actually connect to you, right?
Yeah.
So what I said, at least give the healing a little bit while you're hovering over them or something.
No. The cat is already way too powerful for what it is.
I mean,
No.
well,
the cat is OP, bro. The cat is really OP. There is a reason why the cat usually gets banned. Okay, there is a reason.
You're talking to a person that never plays ranked. You're forgetting that.
No, I'm not forgetting. That's why I'm telling you. Like I am telling you the reason. Like I'm saying it's just so OP. That's why people
in casual, you every time you see a cat, you just see one DPS switch to Widow and shoot that fucker out of the air.
Yeah, that's how you do it. But that you can only do that on maps where it's possible. You know, where you will actually be able to snipe. Very underrated here. I can imagine you playing Freya. I haven't played Freya. What type of? I have to check that out. Cat is very OP. Most comp games I play Sombra, Cat, Dominion. Everybody plays Dominion. I think I could play, but and Zarya. Oh yeah, sorry. Sombra, Cat, Dominion, and Zarya are banned. Yes. Well, by default, those are the usual bans. Yeah. No, I thought you were saying you playing Sombra. Okay, I'm a little confused. Also, funny thing, guys, I got this one. This is the, I think, is this the only Funko Pop I got of Overwatch? I think so. It's the only Funko Pop I got in Overwatch, and I also got a small. I got Farah. Wait, her wings just. Oh, I got her gun here as well. Which all dusty because it was on the ground at some
Just
point
falling
behind
out
the.
of each other.
No, I'm not like it's like it's not. It's a really cool figurine, but I kind of lost. I don't know how to do this anymore. But yeah, the rocket launcher thing, and I got 2 wings of her somewhere in this thing here. I also got a Mercy somewhere, but I don't know where she's hanging out. She used to hang on the things there, but she
Wait,
probably fell.
hanging out?
She's a flyer.
Oh, she's actually hanging.
Yeah.
I was thinking that you. Yeah, no, never mind.
No, tell me. Tell me what you thought. What were your thoughts?
What?
What
I'm
were your
confused.
thoughts?
We're in a Twitch, so I'm not gonna say that.
Dang. Yeah. Who does Daddy main?
Also,
Daddy Coin.
I am support / tank main. I don't main any one. My main pick in the beginning is most of the time with tank Roadhog or Junker Queen, but then I switch off to counter the other guy. And then in support, I usually go to Mizuki now.
Yeah.
I still don't know. He's fucking OP. I don't get how people don't see
Wait.
that.
Who is that? Is that the water guy or is it the other guy?
The new guy, the newest support.
Well, is that the water guy? Does he like?
No, the one with the hat.
Okay, I like the guy with the water.
Mizuki. Yeah, he's
Wu
good
Yang.
too. The problem with him is I don't play Overwatch too many times, and his projectiles actually take some getting used to.
Yeah, true. It's not easy.
So I rather than play the
Mizuki.
hat guy, okay?
Mizuki.
Yeah, I rather play him because he actually heals for way too much than it. I literally, my first game, I wasn't even paying attention on healing, just throwing my hat sometimes. I was with the tank. He didn't die even once, and I had over 15k healing.
Wow.
Like something nuts like that.
I feel every time I see Mizuki, I forget he's a support. He's not a DPS, which is
Yeah, but
confusing
most
to
of his
me.
healing, what people forget is
Hog's been nerfed?
passive.
Really?
No, well, he is. The passive healing, I believe, is nerfed, right?
Of Hog?
Oh, wait, Hawk? Wait.
Hog has been nerfed? I didn't know.
Roadhog, yeah, is nerfed.
I like to play Roadhog as my third or something.
I like to play Roadhog just how people are getting toxic on me for.
They don't like him.
Dirty as a Roadhog.
They don't like him. Just heal in the corner, go hit a couple, and then go back into a corner,
Yeah,
heal.
They also don't like me because I know all the little like by instance, if I'm actually getting shot at,
Yeah.
you know when some Roadhogs actually turn their back to you, so you can't hit his head. I am actually a guy that does that. I am a piece of shit like that.
Wow. No, you're just tactical. You're just tactical. That's what it's called.
Yeah, you can say that. The enemies won't say it like that.
You have timing. You know what to do it. That's just what it is. All right, let's switch it up. Let's show the game. Well, we're talking about the game. We're not even playing the game right now.
Yeah, we've
That's
been
crazy.
talking the whole time.
Oh! I forgot to share it. How about that? Been talking that much that I even forgot to link it. There you go. Whoop! There it is. Battle pass, because I had to add rewards and I had 2 boxes. So let's see that. Show off.
I can't open. I have your stream paused, so I'm still a viewer in your stream, but I can't see what you're doing.
I don't think paused works for being a viewer.
It does. I actually checked it.
What? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
It says 4. Yeah, it says 4, and if I'm looking into it, I actually am standing under it.
Okay. Okay.
If you
Let's
want, I
see.
can put it on my
You
phone. though,
you
if
do 100% you, bro. Like you take your choices. I'm just saying I didn't know that was a thing. Like I genuinely don't think it is a thing, but if you think it is, then that's fine.
You know what? Just to make you feel comfortable.
No. Like I said, you're not like it's not like you don't have to do that for me. I'm not.
Well, the thing is,
I'm never
I'm
asking
not gonna
people to
look
do.
at my phone anyway.
Fair.
It's not like
Make sure
I'm
your
able
phone
to
doesn't.
play the game.
Make sure your phone doesn't die because you're watching me.
My phone is already doing that on
Dang.
defaults. Don't worry. I
Okay.
have to get a new one.
Loot boxes. Let me see. I got 2. Open loot box.
And that's an ad.
Oh. Oh, okay. In purple? I don't know if I got better skins, but I'll take this one. What is this?
I've killed someone for less than that.
Okay. Okay. Chill hog.
Go and sit down.
Yikes!
You know, you wanna know something funny? The funniest thing in this whole entire game, in my opinion, is the
one.
Reaper voice line of Next. If you know that one, it's fucking hilarious if you're doing that after you kill someone. They just see on the
Toxic.
kill feed.
Oh,
Well,
2
no,
blues.
they see on the
2
kill feed you're
blues.
just saying next, like they are next in line.
Oh, I know that one, I think. We got the Snorkel Mori. We got a Freshman Tiomin. The Audacity. The Audacity. Oh, I thought I equipped it, but I didn't.
The audacity.
The audacity of not equipping it. That's crazy. The car wash? Working at the car wash.
I was thinking the same thing.
Love that song.
Old.
Love both versions of that song. I only know 2. All
I
right.
only looked at the movie.
Whoa! Sorry, I'm gonna rate it. Yo, Olex! Hello! What are you doing? Olex, how you doing? Welcome in, Pika! Crizzy! Yo, Omni! Xenos! Toffee! Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in, Raiders. How are you doing? Sunny Cypher, welcome in as well. Yo, welcome in, everybody. Yo, this is crazy. New to the club, so hi there, Seti. Welcome in. Oh my god, all the follows. Toffee Face, Pika, Sunny. Thank you guys so much for the follows. How are you doing tonight? How was your stream, Olex? I have to stop lurking in your stream now. I'm a raider in my own stream at this point. Muncie as well. Welcome in. Thank you, Raiders, for being here. 100%. That's a W coming through there. Soul Reaper as well. Welcome in. How is everybody? I already asked that question 4 times. I'm sorry. Socials. I do have socials. Like, go check it out right here. If I do it,
Social.
comes popping up. How is you? Are you know a little Dutch? Ooh.
Sunny Cypher cheered X1. Sunny 25. Sunny 20 vibes. Sunny
Thank you
20
for these, Biddy. Thank you for that, Biddy. What's the Dutch part? You know. I need to know. Yeah. How was your stream? Stream was amazing. We played a lot of Scribble today. How did you win them all, Olex? Did you win them all, or did you let other people win a little bit too? Come on. What did you do? How did it go? I'm doing okay. Thank you. I'm just a little bit, just a little bit drained, but I'll be fine. Thank you. Cheers. Have a good day or streams. Thank you. You too. Have some good sleep if you guys are going to sleep. If you gotta head off and such, feel free to do so. Don't worry about it. I appreciate you guys coming through. Thank you for the 30 minutes. Holy Pika. What is that? Is that a new emote? I didn't know that emote. Waar is het feestje? Hier is het feestje. I love that one. That if you come down and you're saying like I know a little bit of Dutch and you say that is a straight up W. That's a party cheer right there. That is a party cheer right there. You lost? You're not an artist? Oh no, oh Lex. Oh no, you gotta practice a little bit more. Love's doing that. I love it. I love it, Pika. Love it. Let's go. We're playing Overwatch today, if you guys like that. Anybody likes Overwatch?
Well, playing is a bit of a far-fetched.
We're talking a lot about it.
30 minutes into the stream.
Datey, my streams are always like that. We always start with a lot of chatting, and then we maybe play a little bit, you know, like... Hoe gaat het met je?
Make it any less fun.
Heel goed. Gaat heel goed. Ah, is niet waar, but I'm fine. Thank you. Seti, you're amazing. Thank you so much for the Dutch words. Appreciate it. Wait, what language do you guys mostly speak? Is it Hindi? Is it? I heard some Telugu on Alexa's stream today. I know she's Gujarati. What are our languages we speak, peoples? What are the languages we speak? Chatting, I love that. If chat is a little bit busy, I love to keep on chatting. That's kind of how that goes. English. I think I know English. I think I know a little bit of English. So that we can do.
Damn.
I think we can do that. You are Telugu, but you can speak Hindi. Nice. I cannot speak Telugu. For the life of me, I know no word in Telugu. Maybe I do know, but then I know it through Bollywood or something by accident. English, Hindi mostly, then Telugu, Tamil, Gujarati. You know so many languages, Alex? That's crazy. Wait. How about Punjabi though? How about Punjabi? Your English is great. Thank you so much, Omni. That's so nice of you to say. That's so nice of you. It is I guess my second language. My third language should be Bhojpuri. Should be, I'm saying. Why do I say should be? Because it's my mother tongue. I mean, it is Bhojpuri, but it's like Purani Bhojpuri, so it's like old. Like because my parents are from Suriname. Through, you know, migration in the past and such. So the old language of Bhojpuri of like generations back that traveled along with them, and it's got a little bit mixed with the cultural languages over there, and then, you know, brought to here through the Netherlands. So it still had some origin roots of the language, a lot of origin roots of the language, with some influence, of course. Plus, it doesn't have that new age Bhojpuri in there. So, but then again, I don't really speak it that much. My parents speak it a lot. I've been more into Hindi ever since I was a kid, so I understand a little bit of it. I can talk a little bit in it. I can sing a lot in it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Be right back, Panda Boy. Thank you so much for lurking. Thank you for the raid as well. Let's give you a shout out. I forgot to do the shout outs. I was so overwhelmed by the raid. Thank you so much. It doesn't seem like I'm overwhelmed, but trust me, I was.
Bad streamer.
Bad streamer, 100%, 100%.
Better streamer than me.
I know. Dang. I'm not comparing. I know Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, and a little Kannada, English, and Hindi.
real life में
Love that. There's a lot of languages. Guys. Okay, so
compared to Valo, this is a walk-in park, Olax.
Nope.
True, Alex.
Yeah,
true.
this is literally a walk-in park, Olax. I don't even need to play Valo. I don't even need to play Valo for insults. You guys.
So is she gonna play Valo or not? What do you guys think? You speak Bhojpuri, Grizzy? No way. That's crazy. Not gonna lie, you love Bhojpuri songs. So when you say Bhojpuri songs, I don't know most of the Bhojpuri songs like from like UP and like Bihar and such. I don't know much of those songs like that are currently going on, but I know some oldies, some chutney songs and all that from back in the days, and definitely that came through and such. And yeah, I don't know, just like I haven't been much into the music lately of like the past 2-3 years, something at least. Discord? Yeah, I think it's just Discord. I don't think I have it as a DC. I cannot for the life of me type today. Mostly meme songs. Yeah, fair. Yeah, I know those. I heard you from Hyderabad. Is that right? That'll be songs. Yes, sir. Damn. We're gonna go back to Alexa's damn. We're saying Netherlands. You stay at? I can't say that. Because if I do say that, I don't want to dox myself. Like, if it's a big city, if it would have been like Amsterdam or something like Utrecht, or I call another big city Maastricht, like I could say that, but I don't want to dox myself over here. But
Don't worry, guys. He's from Spain.
how dare you? How dare you dox me? How dare you? You debated on Netherlands? Oh wait, what do you mean by you debated on Netherlands? I don't know what you mean by that.
I think they didn't know if you were from the Netherlands. I think that's what they meant with that.
Well, fair. Fair, yeah. So Dutch is my first language basically, because my parents were like, okay, you gotta just learn the local language first. We will see about the rest. And then secondary was gaming, so that was English. I mean, I might be moving to the Netherlands. Oh, you're debating to go to the Netherlands? Wait, all right. I mean, I might be moving to the Netherlands for college, so maybe you could have helped. Hey, if you want some help, if you need information or something, feel free to even jump in the Discord, or maybe even like DM me about it if you don't want to disclose anything about the college and stuff. Feel free to just question me about things here. I don't mind replying you on that. As long as you're not being obnoxious to me. No, just kidding.
It will probably take 5 years for him to answer, though.
That's not true. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
It always takes a
Maybe one day. But no, if it's in my Discord, I always try to like reply as fast as I can. Don't worry about it, guys. There's a fest where we get to represent a country, and I got Netherlands. Oh, what? So what did you do for that fest then, Sati? Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh wait, so I know we were playing Overwatch and such, but while we're at this, let's just do this.
Are we? Are we?
There, put some music on. There you go. There you go. We have the vibe a little bit over here. Ah, nice jazzy sounds. Thanks, man. You're welcome. No worries. Mun? Wait, what? Mun? But yeah, I'm really curious what you did at a fest for that then. Kind of, but to only 2 other classes from her college. Now I'm still curious what you had to do for that. For a second, I thought stream edit. It's my either going to talk screen or me appearing on stream. That's when that appears. Actually, always just go to my talk screen and it just appears. No. I just for you I did that. Just for you guys I did that. But yeah. So yeah, maybe fun for you guys to know, because you guys are like, most of you guys are I think Indian, as far as I know. I actually lived in India for like 9 months or something for school. So funny how you talking about going to college here in the Netherlands, traveling. I kind of did that in India. In the end, like I had the choice to go into a country out there, and I was like, you know what, I want to go to India because I want to get to my roots and everything. And my school was like, yeah, you can do that if you're gonna find a school there, or school if you're gonna find something there, a workplace to have a intern thing. So I did that. But it was tough because it was me on my own. Literally on my own. Like nobody at school was daring to come with me. So that was kind of rough, but yeah, like it was an amazing experience.
Did you think it was worth it?
It was definitely 100% worth it. Like 3000% worth it.
There you go.
Yeah, 100%. Kind of, but what I mean, where was I in chat? I got to know all about population, tulips, windmills, and landscapes and monarchy. Nice. Yeah, those are things to know about. Yeah, cool. What'd you think of them? Getting a scholarship. Why should I miss out? I mean, that's crazy. That's amazing. Like you going to the Netherlands and then as getting a scholarship for that is amazing. That is absolutely good job on that, honestly. So funny thing when I okay, so I don't really talk much about my private life because I want to, you know, remain non-doxed as much as I can. So what I can say is that it was funny. I was at the institute and they were like, okay, so what happens if you have an intern over here? You have to pay to join the internship. And I was like, wait, what? You're in the Netherlands. If you get an internship, you get a little money. You actually gain, you get a little salary because you're helping out the company as well, right? So not only are you their helping hand, you're also learning things, but you're also like, you know, making their life a little bit easier, supposedly, or at least they're also like helping out for the future. And making it interesting for you to join them later. So it's like a win-win situation. And if, you know, you're a student, you want to get paid because you can pay your rent and such. So 100% makes sense to get money, right? And then they mentioned like, yeah, so you gotta pay for your internship. I was like, but actually over here we gain money. So can we like come to an agreement for that? And they were like, you know what? We understand where you're at. We understand where you're coming from. We're going to do it this. We're going to not ask you any money. We're not going to give you any money. I was like, okay, fair.
I mean, you've been pretty lucky if they even did that.
Did like, if they what?
If they wanted to compromise with you about those kind of things.
Yeah, like that was nice. They were really nice. They were real, like the institute were really nice people there. Like it was a time of my life there, not gonna lie. It was very interesting though. It was all culture shock because everything's different there. Even like the workplace and such, very hierarchical. I cannot even say that. There's hierarchy there. Yeah, so it's very different. Where can I say stuff about that without doxing? Not saying much about things, but okay, there was like, let's say I was not a senior, okay? I was like a person who didn't even had his bachelor degree. I was still in internship for my study to get that bachelor degree. And the funny thing was when I was walking around there was people who were working on a master's degree. They already had their bachelor degree, but they were working there. And because of the clothes I wore, because we had like jackets and such, they were like, you know, I was from a different department than theirs. They were like, yo, sir, sir, how are you? And all that kind of stuff. Like they were really friendly, like they're really like respectful. And I was like, dude, first of all, I think I'm younger than you. Second of all, I don't even think I got like the diplomas that you got, bro. Like just call me by my name. Don't worry about it. Like the more I said that, the more they understood like it's actually the truth, and they're like, okay, this guy's chill. Let's just talk normal with him, which was super nice. Just, you know, hanging out it was cool. You got to know all about people getting scholarships, and I thought my company was bad. This is too much. Really? It's too much? Hello from the new PC, Deku. How is your new PC, bro? Tell us about the specs. Tell us about the specs. Where did you gain, you know, stuff, basically, from where you're coming from? You sent him in Discord already? Oh, okay, I'll check it out. I sent a friend request on Discord. We'll contact you when I'll need help. My major concern is housing. Right, that's fair. Housing is very tough, I'm not gonna lie. Housing is not easy. So, Carreri, welcome in. Even people trying to get a house is pretty difficult. So I do understand you're doing that. I will advise you, first of all, going on Facebook. I know why. I know Facebook is crazy, but I know through Facebook a lot of people are able to find rooms if it comes to students and such.
I wanted to say also, maybe you can look for someone that actually does the same thing and you can actually share.
Yeah. True.
Actually,
if you go together, you like have a proper shot at like renting a whole thing together.
You also get more chance to actually getting it because you're with two payments and stuff like that.
True. Okay, bye. Good night. Good night, Omni. Thank you so much for being here, though. Take care. Take care. Sleep tight. Let me see. Discord. Where is you? Ooh, Componenta. Ryzen 798. Hey, we got the same Ryzen, I believe. The same CPU. 5080, 16 GB. I think I got a 5060 Ti, do I? I don't even know what I got at this point. No, I have it on my page. I know I got it in my page. But, oh, my music keeps pausing because I'm in Discord voice chat. Lame. That is absolutely lame. Let me go to my own page.
Lefty boy.
Yo, oh, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Oh! Thank you, Lap. Thank you so much. How you doing, bud? And happy belated birthday once more. How was your birthday? Remember to say happy birthday to Laugh. You had a good birthday, I hope. You had 1070 GB RAM and i5 processor. Oh yeah, this is a huge change then. This is a huge change. I do have say 5700. Oh, I have a 5700. Huh? I thought I had a higher one. Gotta double check my my CPU then. Yeah, 5060 Ti. Okay, yeah. Okay, and then dude, can I stream from your PC, Dugwoo? Can I stream from your PC instead? Yeah, thank you so much for sharing.
He will come in your window and switch his PC with yours.
Don't tell him that. Don't expose my secrets. Don't expose. Dang it. Finally stream early enough for me to join. I'm so sorry, buddy. Birthday was okay, school was super boring. Thank you for, let me go shout you out as well. Luff. Birthday was okay, school was super boring.
Cry super easily, like movies, for example, especially animated movies like Pixar and so on. I cry super easily.
Thanks for sharing.
But other things like real life stuff, it's difficult for me. It kinda, my emotions kinda take like 1 or 2 weeks to catch up to me, basically. I don't know if my brain is just faster than my emotions or my...
Not that difficult. Wait, that changed? That changed, Laugh? You crying all the time now? Oh no! Oh no, not all the time! I love happy belated birthday. Thank you so much, Peeps, for coming through for that. Thank you so much. Alert to ramification. Either that or I had a massive delay. Oh. Is my stuff muted on my maybe? Oh, it's not muted on my end. It doesn't seem like it's muted, at least. I hope you guys heard the right things. Happy tears as well. That's amazing. Crazy says us. Wait, what? Wait, what did I say? What happened? What's with the us? Also, Creori wanted to Gamba. So, for those who are new in here, please don't get scared. Don't get scared, please. Let me give you an option to gamble here, so. And the shots.
We gambling now?
I mean, not like that, I think.
What are we playing? Poker?
Imagine. Imagine. I mean, we had to play Bellatra at that point, right?
I mean, I still have to do that at one point.
I have never tried it.
Asking me.
Number 2 again.
I've been always...
How do you keep on getting number 2, bro? How do you keep on getting intensity number 2? So, Creori has redeemed Unleashed Leo.
He's cheating. Confirmed.
Yeah. Okay, so my throat's gonna be fine after this. Don't judge me on this, by the way, guys. That's a proper 2. That's a proper 2 intensity.
The funny thing is, on Discord it didn't go through.
Nice. I know.
For me, it was literally pure silence for like 5 seconds.
Yep, that's what it does. Gambling paid PC. Wait, what? That's crazy. That is crazy. Lurking immediately. Okay. He was disappointed. Maybe we'll play a game. We can still keep on talking though. What did you want to play? What is your favorite thing to play in this game?
Oh, you're talking to me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, unless you don't want to.
How long? 50 minutes? We finally played something?
I already promised you that it will be a long talk.
I know. Yeah,
And you know, I want to keep my promises.
I know. It's just kind of funny that you all of a sudden just like, oh yeah, and what do you want to play? Like, no going over or anything. Just like, anyway, nothing of that.
What do you mean toxic? Wait. What was toxic about that? The aside, what? Thank you for claiming first earlier, by the way. How you doing? Do we you wanna start on Mystery Heroes?
I am not the streamer. I am just here to enjoy my games. What probably not gonna happen.
But
because this is Overwatch.
But I literally asked you what you want to play.
And I said I don't really care what we play.
Okay, fair. Okay, then we'll play Mystery. I used to play loads of Junkrat and Window. Hey, I thought I said it wrong, but then I reread it and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't say it wrong myself. But you're good. Widow, don't worry about it. I was blaming myself for reading it wrong in my head. I was like, what am I doing? Widow before servers died here in SEA. Oh yeah, I forgot servers is a thing here as well. Yeah, as well as in Valorant.
Why did I think you were gonna say window cleaner for some
Window cleaner? No, that's the perfect agent in this one. Widow I like to play is like secondary for me now. Like I guess I play Pharah a lot. I'll play Pharah. Wait, how do I get her twice in a row now? I still don't know how to.
We just started the game. How do you mean twice in a row?
Because last game I played this one.
Yeah, and if you die, you're another one.
No, that's the agent I ended with. I didn't even die in that Mystery Heroes. Just played this one.
I mean, did you expect anything else?
Yeah.
You have literally 2 movement abilities.
True.
And you're asking why you didn't die?
I didn't say why I didn't die.
Fair enough.
Can I? Oh, sorry, Phoebes, you can definitely join. I'm sorry. Do you still have my Do you still have my my? What's it called? My you know.
Okay, one is on top, just camping the door, I guess.
Oh, you don't? Oh, you are Ophelia. Okay.
Lovely. I can be the piece of shit now.
Oh, come on.
I don't know if I can say that.
Come on. Get healed.
I'm dead. Look on the bright side. That's it. That was the bright side.
Yeah, nice. I like bright sides. It's getting late here, Lord. Thank you so much for being here. Have some good sleepies. And I'll see you on the next one.
I get it. I'm getting Torbjorn in attack.
Can I just get rid of the tank? Nice.
Well, he did.
I guess I can play a Juno, guys.
Juno is not that hard.
I didn't know. Oh gosh.
She's actually quite OP. If you think
She is.
They have two never mind. One day. I wanted to say they have two Roadhog, but
I didn't know I could fly like that. I didn't know I could fly like that.
Oh yeah, you can hover. If you can double jump and hover.
Got you at it. Can't type. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. No worries. No worries. No worries.
Why did he panic ult?
We're not clean the map, Crazy.
I am.
Oh, wait. How did y'all die? I pay attention. I don't pay attention for a second and then.
I got shield bashed by an angry woman.
Rude. Ow.
Why am I doing, brother? Why do I get the characters I never play in this game? I play almost everyone.
I don't know what my ult does.
Your what?
Ult.
Oh, big beam that heals everyone and damages enemies.
I guess it works.
Oh, you actually did it?
Yeah, yeah.
Alright. Okay, well, I'm taking a nap, I guess.
Don't take a nap. Wake up.
Well, I can't really do anything about it. I got slapped by Anna.
Anna. He does that sometimes.
Anna was sleeping.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Don't die! Don't die! Don't die!
I'm not.
I got you! I got you! Holy! I should play Juno more often.
Yeah, Juno fucking slaps. And I'm hacked again. Lovely.
Language, Daddy! Language!
Sorry.
I'm not gonna fight her. Oh, I missed. I cancelled my heal.
No.
Oh, no, 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 no! Help! How do I?
Okay, they have again a bastion.
Oh, come on! The only
bastions in a row.
the only way of me dying is literally falling to the lava.
You know you can catch yourself there, right?
I can what?
You can actually double jump.
I already double jumped and then I fell.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Are you Juno again?
Apparently I am, which doesn't make sense.
You are very lucky then. Oh no, wait. If you're actually killing yourself, you get the same hero.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Also, people would kind of abuse it.
Rude. Stay alive, stay alive, stay! I said stay alive!
Well,
Now what am I supposed to do?
Anything about it.
Okay, I got eliminated. I got eliminated! Imagine getting laminated.
Why am I doing this again?
Bastion! No, not Bastion. Am I? Yeah, Bastion.
You are. How many bastions are in this game?
Too many.
Oh, they haven't been lovely. Well,
Sir.
I tried to kill Mina.
I got killed by a freaking Mei.
Oh, well.
I don't like Mei.
Usually happens.
I don't like Mei. She's a pest, alright.
That's. Oh, I'm Roadhog.
I am this new guy.
Alright. It's basically an overpowered.
Just his reigns. Wow! Hello, I was killing this guy? Stop walling me off.
How
Okay.
many tanks do they have?
2.
Yeah. It's pretty annoying because they.
Can I also respawn? Thank you. Okay, Junkrat. Flamigo?
Why are we respawning all the time together? That's my question.
Because we dying.
Fair enough. That's not good. Well, he did.
I tried to escape, but I forgot how to do that.
Yeah. Okay, I literally just died. There
Are we catching
was
it?
No damage there. There was
It's
just
going.
death.
It's going amazing, Olex. Thank you so much for that raid. Just what I needed. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Very, very kind of you.
Good luck with it. He kind of plays like Bastion. Not Bastion.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay, okay.
What to do? Holy!
Yeah, they have way too much damage for comfort. It's not even funny anymore.
They got explosives. They got okay. They got Dominia. Oh my God, that's. They got everything. And I got freaking Baptists.
Yeah. I mean, Baptist is not a bad support. It's
True.
just that we're not having any damage.
Go, 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 go!
Jesus, they are ripping through me, and I'm Roadhog.
Got rid of the Dominia. Let's go. Yeah. Rude. Rude, is there a new character? Yes, there is. There is one with a drone kind of a thing.
You're talking about the new one?
Hope you had fun. Don't say that. What do you mean? Don't say that. Hope you had fun with the community. Yeah, they're super kind. Wait, what am I doing? Oh, I got the new character. Oh no, I'm dead.
I got the minion.
I just got the new character and I'm dead because hey, what's her face? The robot lady was ulting. Sierra, thank you so much.
I am Dominia, and I die instantly. They rip through my
I got Kiriko as 2B, guys.
Okay, you're saying that if I die even once, I'm blaming it on you.
Huh?
I got one.
Huh? I have a feeling we're not gonna make it.
Well, I tried.
Just a feeling. On Sword Lady.
Oh no, they have her now. Oh, lovely. We're not gonna get this.
You shouldn't have slowed down. Wait, I have mobility. Oops. Oh. Where you at?
Wait, who are you in the end?
The Sword Lady. Vendetta.
Oh yeah, she actually does more damage the more you combo.
Let's get Oh.
Wait, what is this? This is new.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what this is.
I had to click that.
Oh well. Then.
It's a new thing where you, I don't know, you vote for someone to be who is the best or something.
I have no clue.
2 per team, maybe. I don't even know if that was part of that.
I have no clue.
Okay, let's get a billion here. Also, I'm in Discord. We're in Discord if you want to hop into PC peeps. Feel free to do so. And you can tell us what you want to play.
Because we don't know.
No, because she's the joiner, so they can decide.
Fair enough. But we also don't know what to
Fair.
play, let's be
Don't
honest.
You should just have a stream on. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. What do you want to play though? You down with whatever? Dang it, that's what we all are.
Well, we aren't further.
Let's play 6v6.
Yeah, let's just play casual.
The 6v6 casual?
Yeah, that is. The 5v5 is a separate game mode.
Yeah, fair, but I don't know why you say it's casual.
Is still 6v6, I think. Wait, is it?
It's just unranked 6v6.
You're making me question myself.
I'm making you question yourself.
Yeah. Oh no, wait. 5v5 is casual. 6v6 is different. Mostly the tanks feel the difference, but
no idea. I've never played 6v6 on this game. I mean, I did back in the days, but
mostly the tanks are the older.
There is also.
Yeah, you just vote on the map now.
There is also, what's it called? There's a new map, but we didn't get it this time.
Wait, you can pick random map now?
Yeah, this is exactly.
Or just not vote.
You can also, yeah, that does make sense, by the way.
Yeah.
Because then it's gonna be double random.
Oh wait, so this is not roles.
Oh, in that case, I'll be support then. Look, I got 2B.
I'll do the same then, because I have a feeling nobody is gonna be support. Oh, well, we have 3 supports now.
Teamed up as supports, let's go.
Wait. We have 1 tank, okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm a tank main anyway.
Okay, go for it, go for it.
I'm for today tank
Go for
main.
it, go for it. Let's go, Junker Queen.
Actually, this is a kind of a not too great of a map.
Oh, look at that skin you got.
Way too open. Yeah, it's
Crazy. Crazy.
Sure.
You wanna see something even funnier?
Good.
Wait, hold up. Here we go. I'm
I can't see it.
Sit down real quick. Well, the D.Va is in my face. I can't really do anything about that.
Knives. Nice knives.
Yeah, it's more like the sitting. The sitting emotes doesn't make sense, and that you're sitting here, and I'm just like, this is the actual sitting emote. I should have switched. I already regret my decisions.
It's too open for Junk Queen.
Yeah, I know. I got one though. And they have a bastion. That's just...
Wait, why am I getting damaged? Crazy. You're getting pulled back.
Yeah, that wasn't too great of a pull.
There you go.
Oh, that's a bastion. Hi.
Oh, I can climb walls. I forgot about that. I got you, I got you, got you.
Our D.Va is pretty aggressive.
Got him.
And I am Junker Queen.
You guys gonna get the kills, I'll get him. Oh shit. Help. I got the cat out of the sky, let's go.
Is he still not dead? D.Va, hello?
Oh my god. Headshot.
I shouldn't have done this.
No.
Never mind.
Oh, that worked.
That worked out in the end. D.Va is low though.
You're welcome. Why is D.Va broken?
D.Va is baby D.Va.
What is that? No! No! Why did I teleport to you?
Why am I wrecking this bastion right now? This doesn't make sense. Okay, I should.
Also, I feel I'm not playing this that casually.
Oh, this is casual for me. These are even low
Oh.
lobbies for me.
Everybody died. Like everybody died.
Yeah, that's fair.
Keep an eye out.
There's a cat. I'm dead.
Gets healed. He did.
He did. Give them a Hulk.
Yeah, apparently. We're in Marvel, apparently now.
Let's go. No, why do you die on my ult? Why do I die on my ult? Freaking cat!
I didn't really ask for it.
I think the cat was ulting.
No, the new character.
Rude.
Yeah. I have no clue still what the new character actually does.
Yeah, they have a drone and they shoot.
Well, most characters shoot. So
And they got a drone.
So we're playing Apex Legends now with Crypto?
No, it's over. The drone with explosions.
There are a lot of drone kinds and...
I'm trying to heal you? Really, I'm trying to heal you. What the? Didn't that happen twice?
I was too slow in that one.
I was escaping one and then suddenly there was another one that was airstriking me. Like what?
I am confused how that weapon works. Like, how is it spinning twice? Logics don't apply to that gun that the new character has.
Restoring balance. Thanks for pitching me up.
Hello, the Ramatra. Oh shit! Ah! Am I still alive? New character, hello. Hello. Oh my god, how did I stay alive for like those 2 times?
Jesus, how is she always escaping?
Who?
Let's get back.
This new character. I am confused how this character works, and I kind of want to know because it's annoying that she just swoops away the whole time.
Why am I walking up a wall I don't want to walk up onto?
But I don't know.
Give him a Hulk.
We're hulking out now?
That's payback.
I traded you. Oopsie. I got orbed. How chill is the music while we're having this game? It's crazy.
Did he give up? The Ramatra just gave up, I feel like.
Ramatra.
Why? That was a weird diva bomb, but sure.
Can we have that thing out of the sky?
That's what I like to see.
Okay, well, I just died, I guess.
No! Ulting again. Keeps on ulting. It's like breach attack, but also with damage, basically. Breach ult. Machoke? I think I got him a choke. Gonna pokey catch that. Oh, thank God I got that as a chat command now. I got you, Diva, I got you. Stop giving them a Hulk! Double kill! Nice.
Okay.
We got an AFK over here.
Well, I'm dead.
Don't die. Don't be dead.
Well, I can't really. The cat took me away.
I am so dead. Why? Why me? I mean, I was having kills. Don't let him take the robot.
Time to try again.
Or don't leave the robot.
I wasn't even there.
That's the problem.
I was dead.
Oh, like that. I was just like, I wasn't even there. Yeah, that's kind of the problem.
No, that's fair. I forgot I have to post my stream in here.
Do you know?
Boom! Just in time. Oh! Vote me! Vote me!
I did.
Aw, thank you guys. What did happen? What happens if you win this? Oh, I don't win this. The other guy wins this.
Oh,
Bastion.
So these are just MVP endorsements. So it's basically the same as the thing you do under in the menu, but
Endorsement, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a double endorsement thing.
Well, now you can do it multiple times then.
Yay! Wait, we can play the other one now.
What one? Oh, 5v5?
Yeah. I'll play damage this time. I've been playing too much tank and support.
I'll just be not annoying, go all roles.
So you'll have
and
tank.
Get, and yeah, I wanted to say and get tank in the end.
Love the Kiriko skin. Thank you so much. I was playing Overwatch and it was the like it was I think the last day the thing it was in the shop, and it was me my coming back stream on Overwatch, and I was like, New Queen Street, I think. So I
Look what I am.
What? Look, oh yeah, you're a tank.
I
Of
am
course.
tank.
Of course. That's what I told you. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not gonna get that. It's like too expensive. I was like, ah. And then I started playing ranked, and I started trying to get a rank for everything, and I was enjoying it so much that I had to buy it. So I ended up buying it.
Damn. That was a wild story.
Right?
Can I just say I wasn't really listening?
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Also breaking into the story as well. It's crazy. Crazy.
Well, you didn't say anything for 3 seconds and you're saying I'm breaking into the story? Wait, what?
No, I was saying a story, and he's like, panda.
Oh, like that, yeah, sorry.
Ah, and then I sneezed. Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
hello. They said hello.
That's what I'm going for.
Hello.
What? Hello.
You know what? I don't feel like Junker Queen right now.
Aw, give him that. I'm sorry.
I got a legendary
I'm gonna go
skin.
choo-choo. You got got a legendary skin. My account is all legendary skin.
I don't play this game as much as you do, okay?
I don't either anymore.
I already got a kill?
Killed someone.
Another one? Astrid.
Well,
No, I'm...
I don't know why.
Oh, not Zarya.
Zarya isn't too great anymore. Well, he did.
Don't like it.
Okay.
Okay. I am so dead. I am so dead. Cannot escape anymore.
Well, Zarya is dead.
Riz! Thank you so much for the Riz.
I like this skin, just the whole time the terrain going on. I like how our payload isn't even in the first half fully done, and we're fighting in the second half already.
Did I just hit myself? Ooh, I got her in the end! Oh, she must be hating me.
I'm gonna get play of the game. There is no way that isn't play of the game.
Aw, thank you for another res, kitty cat.
I just gotta kill it.
We got a pharmacy. We got a pharmacy over here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hello there. You have my thanks.
Wait, that doesn't go no. That goes nowhere. Ow! 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 Ow!
We don't like that.
Sorry, I died for the third time. Ow. Got her.
That's two.
Nice. I didn't even hit her once.
Got her again already.
Where am I?
I just killed a cat as Reinhardt.
What?
I don't know how, but I did it. Well done.
Thank you. Oh, we're spawn killing them. That's crazy. I was pushing them back. Okay, hell no, hell no, no, I'm dead.
I'm bullying them just a little bit.
So, can I get another revive?
I don't think you need one.
Oh my god, I get another revive! I still didn't get to spawn yet. I still didn't get to spawn.
I feel like I was bullying them. Look at my kills real quick. And my damage. Yep, that's it.
Good job, bud.
But look at this, like I'm just not even thinking, I'm just
That
swinging.
is crazy.
Average right gameplay.
Oh man, am I the only one that died so much? No. Oh, they actually died a lot too. Crazy. Oh, Oh. Oh, you're getting it. Good job, Daddy.
I mean,
There you go. What, did you get anything extra for that?
an endorsement.
Nice.
So basically useless. Okay.
Oh, we're getting another one. Pop off, Daddy, right? Okay, let me open up a loot box while we can.
I just shouldn't be I'm just illegal on the right.
Oh, 2 purples?
That's just proven.
2 purples? Oh, come on! I shouldn't have opened it just now.
You know what's the worst thing as well? They were playing Junker Queen. I should have no chance even coming close to them.
True, true. Dang, my beer is done.
Your beer is done? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I had a beer.
Oh. What one?
Palm.
Oh.
My favorite.
I have no clue what the difference is because, like, you know, I am not drinking.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You go. That's good.
Yeah.
I admire
I
that.
had a seizure not too long ago, so.
Oh, damn. That
I even
sucks.
fell off a roof because of it. So
Was it
that fun.
Was it how do you call that? Like, was it a terrible concussion or was it a mild concussion?
It was one of the worst ones I had apparently.
Oh damn.
But I also fell off a roof, so.
Why did you fall off the roof? What are you doing off the roof?
I'm afraid of heights, and the stress of the heights got amplified because of, you know, and then I got a seizure and fell off the roof because I went out, if that makes sense.
Did you say that again?
So because of the seizure, I fell off the roof because obviously I fell, right? But I was on the roof for work. So when I was working, I am afraid of height, but I'm just like, okay, I have to do this. If I'm doing this fast, in 5 minutes I'm away from this shit.
Okay, I'm dead.
And then the stress got the better of me, and I actually got a seizure, and I fell off the roof because I obviously had a seizure. Are you... Okay, Roadhog is not the play here.
Oh shoot! I got sniped. Oh, your last Mercy! Good job, Mercy! Thank you for all the revives! Was Loki stressing? I'm so sorry. You were like I didn't get back to lobby. You were the one you constantly just revived me. Thank you for that. Wait, what are you talking about, Daddy?
I was just talking in myself, really. How are they shooting through my shield? Wait, hold up.
Got it. No worries, I just came in to say thank you so much for coming through. That is so nice of you. Hope your day's been well for the rest. Hope you have some good games. If you want to play some more games, just hop in. Play some with us. Feel free to do so. The Diva's up here.
Just...
Don't expect me to be awesome at the game though. You know, you had to revive me all those times too.
Or just having fun.
Yeah, true. When you shout to my god, what? Oh! Okay. My bad.
That's a bump.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that again.
What?
I'll play soldier.
Up to you.
Every soldier needs a cause.
I am running. Oh wait, no one's there.
Are you?
I am running.
Are you running?
I am running. Why are you running?
Why are you running?
Why are you running? No way.
Well, here we go.
No way.
What?
I survived that for that long.
Alright.
Where are they?
Mostly behind.
Why?
Because they like it, I guess.
I don't want to say valid. Wait, that wall didn't protect us?
It does, but they broke a panel just where you were standing.
I thought the ult broke it. Maybe it was like the placement wasn't right.
Break it behind,
I was hoping it
after
just...
the plat.
I would just survive behind that little wall. I'm getting no hits anymore. Never mind. We're back. I got perks?
You didn't notice it?
I didn't notice I had perks at this point. I was too busy killing.
Wait, you said that Juno was already broken without her perk?
No. I meant I didn't know I was having perks to enable at that point.
Oh. I was like, did you play all this time without any perks?
I don't think I was playing her with perks though. But yeah, she definitely is broken without the perks.
Well, then you don't know her yet with her perks.
True.
She has a perk in the second phase that she actually can shoot forever. Well,
Crazy.
At least her burn becomes an actual auto
Oh.
if she's in that speed thingy.
Frickin' Bob! Oh, rest! Mercies are amazing tonight.
You know what? Why not?
Oh shit! I'm getting countered, soldier! I'm getting countered, soldier! No! I was lower in health, but I almost got him.
Still got some fight in me.
My question is, why do we have a widow in this map?
Why are we
I don't know.
Get the lead out and get this base. Expect resistance.
Damn! They got us both, peeps. They got us both.
I've seen tougher spots.
How dare they?
Maybe your Moira should also focus on healing instead
How
of
are you as quick as I am, by the way?
Because funny.
Okay. Okay!
Valid point. Oh wait, what?
Soldier was flanking us.
Oh. Well, that's not nice of him. Oh,
Right?
he's dead.
Oh, oops.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, I dropped my healing point at the base.
Well, that's Diva's mech.
Got you. Well, you're dead now.
That's
You must have seen that coming then. Got him! The hell? Got Red Riding Hood.
What did you just say?
Red Riding Hood. Ah! Don't cop you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not used to hearing that
No worries.
in English.
Oh, I'm bullying the diva. Holy.
Aren't we all?
No, 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 don't Bob. Don't Bob. Why is it always Bob?
Because Bob.
Oh.
Surrender to my will.
What was the Halloween thing that they say? No, not Halloween, the April Fool's thing with Bob. Forgetting what it was.
Hank or something?
Hank do something?
It was another name, and then she just like, oh wait, Bob.
Hank, Bob? Oh, that's something like that. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like that. I know it was another name. I don't remember what it was anymore. It was like a silly name.
Oh, hell no. He gets heals too much. Get the healers. We're so close, though.
And I'm dead.
Oh. Oh, you did.
But, well... When you take too much damage, you kinda die.
No. I didn't do that.
You didn't?
I had heals.
Well, I'm attacked. That's kinda the problem.
Wait, we lost it? Oh
I
no!
didn't even know we were in the last seconds, I'm gonna be honest.
Same. Otherwise I would have pushed it.
What did she do?
What did she do? Oh, Ash was obnoxious, bro.
What did the cat do?
The cat?
The cat. Oh wait, there is a... Okay, my bad.
Huh?
Well, back in the day we had, between me and my friends, we had like a meme. If any sniper would kill us, we every time would say...
Aw, man! That was so close. You almost had it, peeps. You almost had it. 444.
First I stole it and now he...
That's crazy. No, it wasn't me.
No, me. I did. Before with Ryan, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garnets?
I'm sorry for that.
Laughing matter. This was the loot box I opened earlier. I gotta still have it. I like this one. Woo! This is fun. I'm enjoying this.
What?
I know. The 444. This game is fun.
I have been in all roles this entire time. Haven't done anything else.
Oh, maybe I should have switched to... That random...
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh my god, that doesn't make sense. The random doesn't... It's not anything different than the 3 we saw, right?
No.
Then that doesn't make sense.
This was the first one.
It just doesn't make sense. We're on attack.
Yeah, I don't... well, I don't really think it really matters if we're attack or defense in this kind of game mode, but...
I don't want to play Vendetta.
Yeah. You're playing Vendetta?
I don't want to play Vendetta. But you said Freya would be my kind of stuff, right? Let me try it out.
I think I can make this worth my
With
time.
Freya, you need to keep shooting and then right click and shoot again and kind of just keep shooting. It's difficult.
Right. That's weird for a game like this. We got Kitty Cat again. Yay. Let's go.
I mean, she is a very aim character, so
I don't mind that. I mean, we play Valorant, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like.
So a lot of movements and just starts. I see. So, female Sova, let's go. Hell no. Thank you.
Target marked.
Okay, so I'm very vulnerable.
You're saying that.
Are you
while
kidding
I'm
me?
Here, taking hits from 6 people.
Well, yes. Jandar, thank you for the 25 bits. How are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. They don't like me. Help.
I don't think they know like any of us.
But they were all attacking me, okay? It's so rude. Ah! I can't.
How did? Okay.
I can't aim.
7-1.
I thought I could aim.
Just gone.
Sir, I thought I could aim, but I cannot. So I'll play Hanzo, because... that makes sense. You're doing better, I'm so glad, bro. I'm so glad. I hope I didn't mess it up when I rated you the other day. If so, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but... Da-da-da-da.
How? Okay.
Did I talk about how bad I'm at aiming?
Well, this is also the thing. Overwatch and Valorant, two different games. This is
True.
like, the movement is way faster here.
Got him. Are we back?
No, you're not gonna go away. No. Bye, Mercy.
Hello, I don't like you, you new person. Ah! How am I alive? You are the best. Holy. No, that's rude. He was almost dead. Ooh, thank you so much. He jumped over my arrow. Funny guy.
Very funny.
That was a pretty sick kill. He's cheating. Holy. No, but I was having a bad day. I'm so sorry, bud. I'm so sorry. Thank you for another res. W reses. What is that? Oh, it's a healing thing. Hey, 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 that's not nice. Thank you.
Ah, there they have so much luck.
Don't worry, we got the point.
I know. Actually go
Nice.
back to spawn?
I don't know.
They just like, yeah, we're not gonna get this point anymore. We're gonna go back.
Emoting.
As I am with a bow, I promise you, I
No
was
way.
better
I
with a
play.
sword.
Ooh, thank you for the 10 biddies. As bad I was playing, I'm playing very good with Hanzo all of a sudden.
Your queen says, charge! Knife to
Let's go.
Okay. Apparently a Sombra needs to be early on the points, I guess.
Wait, I thought it was a voice line, but it wasn't. Okay, great. Yep, that's great. Love that. Love that. Kitty Cat is back. Kitty Cat is back. Amazing Kitty Cat.
A sign of mastery.
W Kitty Cat. Hey! Rude. No way! You're the best! Huge shout out to Kitty Cat right there. I'm so dead.
What the hell was that? Sorry.
I don't know. Think it was in heaven.
Why did there just go a car alarm on my screen?
What you trying to do, Ryan? No, I was ulting! Oh! So obnoxious. Literally died to melt.
Gotta go.
Lane! Got him. Queen! You cannot hide.
Thank you. By the dragon.
They're coming from
There
the
you
other
are.
side.
Let's.
That's one.
Got him.
Is there Mercy pocketing the Zen? Wait, hold up.
Really?
Yeah, their Mercy is pocketing their Zen.
Nice.
That was something I never seen in my life. The Rhine was over there, and instead of Mercy pocketing the Rhine.
GG's! GG's! GG's!
You see something new every day, I guess.
GG's! GG's! Oh, no way, it's a triple two. Oh, come on! No, give it to. Oh, man. We tried. We tried. We tried. We tried. Maybe I should play something else.
I'm also gonna be honest, I forgot to vote.
Ba-dum,
I was
ba-dum,
too late in
ba-dum.
voting.
I'm gonna switch to support.
Damn.
Damn.
Damn. I'm
Damn.
probably gonna switch as well to something. Never mind. Well, guess I can try DPS.
If you want to. If you want to go heal you, just tell me.
I mean, I don't really mind. Just do you, dude. That sounded weird.
Huh?
Well, I wanted to say you do you, dude, but I said do you, dude, and it sounded weird.
Do you, dude?
It sounded like you had like too much to drink and you can't like make up a sentence anymore. Or something.
Me or you?
Well, how I said it, like.
Don't worry, I'm just messing with you.
I know. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm well aware.
I love that. I love that. There's someone on TikTok that always has that one sentence like, "You don't want to do it, then don't do it, boo boo. Don't do it."
You know, there was someone on TikTok that never said a word.
I think there's multiple people that do that.
Yeah, but there is like one big one. The one that like with the hands.
Oh, you mean like
yeah.
Cubby?
Yeah. He recently.
Why is it random map,
TikTok,
bro?
Right?
That doesn't make sense. Sorry.
But, well, it doesn't make sense, but apparently the game finds it makes sense.
Make it make sense though. Do I have a skin for? No, I don't have a skin for Juno.
I mean, she has enough. If you have enough points, you can get one.
Yeah. I just didn't check. I didn't check.
I know, but like besides Kiriko, Juno is now Juno, Mercy, and Kiriko are the 3 characters that get the most skins.
Oh really? Didn't even know Juno
so, yeah.
had any skins, bro.
Well, at least since she came out, she got like a ton of skins.
I should have a few. Finally, I'm glad someone came prepared.
And then the character I'm playing, Venture, literally she got 2 legendary skins.
Crazy.
Yeah, and she been out for way longer.
It's funny how in Rivals, Hulk barely gets a new skin. They don't get creative with the dude.
This is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have a proper legendary skin, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, he does have a legendary skin, the Mafia teamed one.
I mean, I said a proper.
That's fair. Okay, they have a Venture too.
Nice.
Wait, the Venture actually went back to kill me. Okay. Well.
Enemy barricade is on the move.
No!
I need to stop doing that. Okay, I'm gonna... They have them in... I know what to pick.
Let's see, I'm dead now.
Are we? Are we dead?
I'm dead now.
Oh, damn. Why are you dead, dude?
Don't worry, I'm not. I just killed the Kiriko.
Nice.
Oh, I killed another one. What?
Under my protection. We must stop the enemy from advancing.
Well, Venture is stuck in a trap.
Nice. Rude, rude.
Now you get that DPS isn't really my strong point.
Why am I the only one that has kills?
Yeah, well, I literally just got by.
No, but it's funny. Not even my tanks. I'm just the one like, oh, you know what? Let me help you guys out. No, 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 no. Really?
Domina dead.
Time to get clever.
Don't die.
Come to me for heals. My gift to you.
No, he's trying to heal you. No, he's trying to escape. No. No. No, 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 no. I got you, boo! There you go, guys.
Well, if we're winning this, we literally are doing a miracle today. Like,
Where's the robot
I
at?
don't think this thing could get any closer.
Hey.
Apparently I have 2 DPS. Then we we'll make it. No, I'm as a Kiriko. I need to like help out in DPSing because they're just so obnoxious, and they don't expect me to kill them, which is funny.
I mean, it's Kiriko. Let's be honest.
Kiriko is so OP if it comes to that, bro.
Yeah.
Rip. I died it.
Done playing around.
So we kind of all died. No, we didn't. Okay, no, we did. Chill, peeps. Chill.
What happened?
Eyes open now.
What are we doing?
We're pushing bot. Good, and it protected us. Nice. What's happening? Like a massacre, bro. What's going on here?
Yes.
Nope. Did not like that.
Yeah, I couldn't
Did not
do
like
it
that.
ever.
Did not like that. Did they push it back all the way?
They pushed it all the way to our spawn, yeah?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's fair to say don't put me on DPS. Yeah. Like, no, I'm not even joking. Like, tank, okay, I'm fine in that. The support, I'm probably the best in it. Then we have DPS, that's something different.
Woo! Do you get it? You got it! Let's go! MVP! Now we all got it once.
Wait, did you get it?
No. Peeps got it.
Yeah, but when did you get it? You said we got it all once.
Yeah, I had it once.
When? Wait.
I did get it, right? Oh, you wanted to change roles?
Yes, please. Can I get support, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
You know what I'm getting?
Yep. You ain't getting DPS, that's for sure.
But it's there. What do you mean? A wild chateau.
Sure, You know what? You will get $1 from me if you're getting DPS next game.
$1?
About
What is that?
€1.
$1. I was like, a bug? Which bug?
I don't know.
A ladybug. Get a ladybug.
Oh, yeah, sure. Make it pretty. Don't worry.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
Boom, there it is.
But hey, look at the bright side.
Look at the one vote on Rialto. That's definitely not mine.
Oh. Yeah, Rialto is also a good map. I just feel Icon Vault is...
I just don't know which one it is. You'll make this your last
Icon
match?
Vault is the
Oh, good, Peeps. Thank you for joining in today.
Oh, wait. I'm confused.
Here we go!
Here we go.
I'm not gonna do the accents.
Okay, so I am going to stay close to you.
I'm
if
for the
I say
rocketing.
come back, please do. It's just like if the backline is being dove, that's what I'm gonna say.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is where I say it is.
I'll try to remember that.
Always, if I do, people are just like, don't tell me how to tank, and I'm just like, yeah, but the backline is getting railed here.
But you don't see that backline right now.
Yeah, I'm a tank main, so I know how hard it is to see everything.
Yep.
No one's a natural. We all have to put in the work.
We all have to hide. Why is someone here already?
Because that's funny.
Hello,
Oh gosh.
What the?
Genji?
Okay.
Morning.
Can we talk how someone actually died in the spawn?
If you pull him in, that's funny.
No, like someone of us
I'm-
died in the spawn.
No! Got her anyways. Oh my god, I'm crazy!
Panda, you're saying heal me, but you're full health.
What the hell? Dude! What did I just do?
You killed people.
Did you see that?
I mean, yeah,
Yo.
I was right hiding you.
That was crazy though. I'm kind of proud of myself there. Beacon, how are you doing? How is Overwatch going for you? I saw you in the game. Didn't mean to call you out or anything. I mean, it is not comped, so. Ah, someone's spectating me. For us.
Yeah, someone's spectating again. Goodbye.
Ow.
This Lucio doesn't know very well what...
I think they're pushing a bit too much.
Yeah, they are.
Genji. Oh no, Genji's gonna.
Also, you don't play Lucio.
No.
Did you lick? Okay.
I was trying to stay on the edge. I was trying to stay on the edge. He was out with Doggo. How was that? And how you been, Beacon?
Damn.
Yo, I'm sorry, but that Junker Queen play on the beginning of this match was pretty sick. I love doing that.
Imagine your only dead will be that one.
The fall.
Yeah.
That would be me in this case. All of that. Hello?
You know you have to kill him, right?
I was kind of trying. Why am I here? Oh, this is dangerous. Why did I ult here?
It's fine. You're fine.
I'm dead.
No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm not allowing you.
Bro, you're the best. Okay. I don't like May. I don't like May. He doesn't like me either.
Both supporters just all of a sudden like, no, you ain't gonna die. Not allowed.
Crazy, bro. Oh no, I'm frozen. I'm frozen. Ah! Are you KO Kenny again? You ain't Goku, bro. You ain't Goku. I can't reach him.
Well, he's dead, so you don't
Nice. Yo, Alyssa, how you doing? No one likes May. Honestly, get her out of the game. He's so obnoxious.
I mean, she has a nickname, the Devil.
He was out of the game for a while, right?
No, but they did nerf her pretty badly.
No, don't you do that. Damn it.
No.
He dead again. Ah! Yeah, she's gone. 10-player kill streak is crazy.
I have 5k healing. I don't even feel like I healed that game.
Dude, Squid got it. Holy smokes.
I don't get...
You get banned, by the way, for... Yeah, definitely, Beacon. Definitely.
Oh,
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
A bit overboard, but okay, we get it.
I think you're getting MVP. It was fun playing with you guys. Thank you. And you, peeps. Thank you.
I mean, that's a way to go out. Two MVPs in a row.
That's crazy. Sheesh. Thank you so much for joining us.
And carrying our bots.
For real. For real.
I have a loot box.
I'll give you a shout out,
Let's
peeps,
gamble.
before you leave.
Let's get those grays and blues out. Yeah, here we go.
What now?
The grays
Beacon,
and blues.
if you want to join in, we're in Discord in VC if you want to.
He's already in.
Hiyo.
Yo, Beacon, how is you?
Or she, sorry.
Or
Doing
they.
good. It's fine.
How you doing? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Nothing much.
Nice. What do you want to play?
I'm fine.
Don't say whatever. A cat.
Everybody's the same in here. Everybody.
Okay, not tank.
Not tank. I mean, we could play another quick play if you want.
We were talking about
the game modes.
See, yeah. Well,
you could pick whatever in that case, but. Do you prefer any of the things?
Let's do mine. What was it? A Rhine card?
What?
What?
It's like a custom game mode.
Oh,
that
no.
You're like Reinhardt, and the only thing you can do is charge.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm enjoying that one.
It's funny with like a couple of friends. Like 4 people is the max you should play it with.
What was
like...
it? Oh.
Huh?
What was it?
Oh no! Don't do it, please. Don't.
I don't even know how to find it, honestly.
Oh,
here.
I could probably get it in.
Aim trainer.
Never mind.
I don't think
know
it's
how
there
to do
anymore.
shit anymore. I should stop cursing. I'm sorry.
Oh, don't worry. Thank you. Appreciate it. Rhine cards. I
I'm
actually
really
found it.
trying
I
to
actually
not do it.
I actually found it. You want to try it?
What, Rhine card?
Sure.
You really want to try it now?
Okay. We'll just see for like a couple of seconds what it is. Oh, it's unavailable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's unavailable.
Oh.
Game no
Well,
longer exists. Oh,
I mean, was too much fun, I guess.
crazy. Oh well. Then we'll just play something else. I'm gonna do a click. Okay, I clicked something. Mystery Heroes. Is that okay?
You know what would be funny? Like for April Fools, that you literally just have one button for all the game modes and you have to keep pressing it to get your game mode.
That would be funny. That would be funny. I like the things they
every
do with
time
my
you
April Fools here.
Every time you click the button to play, you're just like Mystery Heroes. No, I want to play casual. Ranked. No, I want to play casual.
Oh, it's gonna stress people out for sure. Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah,
How,
but it's April
Didi?
Fools, let's be honest. Hi, hello.
How am I again, Juno?
The game just wants you to play Juno. Don't you get it?
This is like the
Why
fifth
am I-
time today.
I'm being taken by this cat.
Well, enjoy the ride, I guess.
Well, now someone else is being taken by the cat. Okay, I didn't even know my healing pylon could actually get there.
He did.
That actually reaches to the floor?
He did.
Okay. Yeah, that's not broken at all.
Oh gosh. He did.
I didn't even do anything really. I just threw my pylon
He
down
did.
and that's kinda it. And Panda is apparently just running through them.
Ah! Nope. Not doing that.
No, my pylon.
Nice.
I don't play this character ever.
Who? Who are you?
Ilari, I think. I think.
Oh,
she's
that
called.
one.
The one with the pylon.
Oh, Beacon, you got Kiriko? Let's go. You like playing Kiriko?
Yeah. She's kind of my main at the moment.
Ditto. Love it.
Okay.
I got the 2B skin. I'm really happy with it.
Somehow, I can somehow play Kiriko. For some reason, they always find me. I have the worst luck with her.
Cassidy over here. Never mind, not anymore. No, May is here.
May's gonna die.
Oh, she gonna die, all right. Hello, Zarya. What's up? No comp Zarya is always good to fight against.
I have a question.
Everybody heal.
Am I supposed to do something?
No? You good?
Well, if you're looking at my stats, I didn't really do a lot.
I mean, clearly it wasn't needed, so.
We just wanted to.
The thing is, the only thing that actually happened with my character was done by the healing.
Together, we can do this.
Why am I Doomfist? And I'm singing in karaoke now.
Because why not?
We should begin.
I mean, that's fair.
Why are you so harsh to the world, man?
To the world.
well, let Doomfist have some fun as well.
That's fair,
It's
that's
not
fair.
because he killed so many people that he can't have fun.
You can't have.
That sounded really weird.
That's crazy. That was a crazy statement right there.
Why does it sound like I'm drunk? I swear to God.
Don't worry, it's normal state.
Oh, what did you
I
just
don't even
say?
know. I don't even know how to play this character. Oh shoot! I don't know how to play Doomfist.
Why did I am me, and I for 1 second thought there I could heal someone.
I get
Just
that
like,
so much.
Really?
I have a beam, I can do something here.
I get that with the new characters. I am
Well, but me
Junker
is
Queen.
Everything besides a
I'm a
new
Junker
character, that's kind of the
Queen.
problem.
Pick up your feet, you drongos!
Pick up your feet. Pick up your feet. Makes sense.
Pick up your feet. What does that even mean?
Just pick up your feet.
Pick up my feet, so you mean walk?
Yeah, pick them up.
Do you mean jump?
Hi, Juno.
Nice.
I'm dead.
This is crazy.
We don't have OP character anymore, guys. I'm not me anymore.
Oh no.
Oh no. No, I'm another
Oh,
OP character, don't worry.
Winston, why did you have to put up a shield?
Oh yeah, she really is.
He kind of probably doesn't want to die.
Have to train you up a little bit here, Beacon.
Imagine not wanting to die in this day and age.
Yeah.
That sounded like someone with
Walk
depression,
faster.
not gonna lie.
Gender saying walk faster. Pick up your feet.
Oh. But what if I don't want to?
She will find you.
Why is... Okay, well, sure.
I had to pick the Winston, didn't I?
Damn it. I haven't played this character enough to actually know what I'm doing with her. I did kill a Widow though, so I see that as a win. Oh look, I'm your main, or no, wait, he isn't. Well, I killed already someone, so...
In game, guys, in game.
Yeah. He's just sleeping, don't worry.
I need to reverse the buttons of her, Moira. Doesn't make sense for me to heal on right or left click.
That's literally the first thing I did with Moira.
I-
I'm just like,
I switched-
I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
that.
I switched it for Kiriko as well.
I did that as well with who is the flower guy?
Yes.
I keep forgetting his name.
Life Weaver.
Life Weaver, that's what it was.
This is how important she is, guys.
Oh wow.
I mean, yeah, me and my friends just call him Flower Boy, so...
Flower Boy! Oh, I like that.
I shouldn't laugh this hard because people are sleeping above me.
Oh, really?
That actually cracked me up. Yeah, someone actually lives above me right now.
Well, my wife is sleeping upstairs. Does that count?
Yeah, but with me it's neighbor, so with your wife it's probably just a yell like, can you shut up? And with me it's actually the cops that be called on me.
She would never though. She would be like, could you
No,
please?
she would just throw a
could
slipper at you.
Could you please not? Could you please be a poor silent? I can't sleep. It's kind of how she would do it. She's super
In
sweet.
real life, she just
She
throws a
is.
slipper at
Nah,
your head.
nah, she is way too sweet. She is freaking sweet. Hey Kai, welcome into chat. How you doing?
My girlfriend did that already to me. Just
Nice.
a slipper to my head when it was too loud.
Fantastic.
Was a soft one though, don't worry.
You're lucky.
No.
Lucky it wasn't the heart
Got some
stopper.
brain cells back from it though, so that's good.
Wait, it reactivated your brain cells?
Yeah.
That's a new one.
I can't keep a straight face.
I never heard of that one. Thank you for claiming third and daily check-in as well, Jendar. Appreciate it. And the daily check-in for Kai as well. Let's go, guys. Wait, you guys want to play some Overwatch with us? Wait, oh, how did we quit from the queuing?
You're the leader, so you are the one that did that.
I did not click any buttons.
Well, what do you want us to say about
well,
that?
I think you always have to re-queue if you're in arcade. It doesn't like auto.
Yeah, in arcade you always have to re-queue.
Well, I mean, Mystery Heroes isn't arcade though. It's unranked.
It is though.
Oh, that can.
It is.
Like it shows up in unranked, so I thought it was in arcade. Anyways.
Well, it still stands as arcade for some reason. People
Really?
just wanted it in the front page, I guess. Also,
Fair,
okay, I
fair.
just wanted to say maybe you should pick a role.
I was thinking of what should I do, but I'm getting tank anyways.
Fair enough.
True.
Unless I get DPS, but then we won't get a game for like 7 minutes or something. When you start eating your late dinner, what you having for dinner, bruv? Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy. Hope your workday was good. If it wasn't, let us know. And if it was, also let us know.
At least it couldn't be worse than one time we had a bug. Me and four of my friends were actually in, like we were playing, right? And we queued all DPS. Somehow the game allowed us to do that, and the game just crashed.
Oh wow.
The whole game just said, "Yep, nope, not dealing with that one."
You're the reason they put the locks on that.
Actually, I think 10 minutes later, all the servers went down. So I think we actually broke the whole
Holy.
server.
I have an inkling that says that it was probably already broken when you were able to queue with that many people.
Probably.
Just came back from work. I don't play Overwatch, remember? But why not?
But it's free.
It's free.
We're not sponsored though, but it's free.
True. Fried noodles. Enjoy your noodles.
Overwatch. Hint, hint. We're not sponsored. Hint, hint.
So Overwatch, if you're here, you guys are here. Just saying, Beacon and I are streamers, and Dailycorn as well, by the way.
No, I stopped with that.
Okay, then Beacon and I are streamers.
I am pretending to be streamer.
Pretending to be.
I'm just a funny guy, you know. I'm the guy you can take the piss out of.
Shall I try Domina? Domina?
I mean, you
Domina.
can. She's pretty self-explanatory.
Look at the cool skin I got.
What skin do you have?
I have no idea.
I like it.
I mean, it kind of fits her though.
It's I think it's I got it from a loot box. Whee! Our minds synced up. Zoomies!
We're going to the fair, guys.
Oh, back to the island.
I'll be rewarding my favorites.
Did Domina just say I will be rewarding my favorites?
Behind me now.
Okay, I'm gonna jump off the map.
Wait.
What? Attackers in power at my
I mean, you don't get it, dude. My girlfriend is Spanish.
Oh, crazy. I'm moving too fast. I don't know what to do anymore.
out of my way.
Do I heal?
No, I heal you. I'm literally standing behind you, healing you.
No, I was like, am I healing people by shooting them? No, I'm not.
No, I am.
It's funny how I was shooting someone and they healed. So I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, because I was shooting.
Good stuff.
Oh, by the way, Domina is kind of push tank. You kind of have to push it. Well, not now because yeah, okay.
I was alone.
That happens.
I was alone.
Well, I was behind you. It's just like I can't out heal 5 people. I'm sorry.
You cannot?
No, sadly I don't have my diploma, dude.
Crazy,
not gonna
crazy.
happen.
That's okay. We forgive you, bro. We forgive you.
Okay, I have a job. Okay, I don't have time to play 45 hours a day.
How was your How was your day going? It was okay. It was okay. I was a bit drained though. Okay, maybe I should not be playing Domina.
Yeah, just play whoever you want.
He's OP, but I just not by me. Let's say.
She's OP if you know that she actually is a push tank. What doesn't make sense for her to have a shield then.
Yes.
And I get that.
Agreed.
In the beginning, I was also like,
Very
how
busy.
the fuck?
Okay. They're moving the pylon. Well, you.
Fast, fast, fast.
Okay. Thank you for shotgunning me in the face. Woo! Nice escape, cat.
Lucky shot. My turn.
It's a pity we don't have Kitty Cat on our team anymore.
We do. We still have a kitty cat.
I mean, yeah, we have a cat.
We have a cat. Wait, what? Oh, you.
Wow.
I thought you were talking about the cat. I am very good at names, guys. Don't worry about it.
No. Rude. That's over today. Be right back. Glad for you, bud. I'm glad for you.
I wonder how. I wonder how.
Wonder why. It's just another lemon tree. Whee!
I forgot the lyrics, I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, the song is called Lemon Tree, and I didn't know why for the longest time.
Okay, so educate us. Why is it?
I literally just sang the lyric.
Yeah, but I mean...
They just canceled my kick.
Cancel your kick.
They canceled.
I checked.
I kick, okay. I kick with my knife.
You kick with your knife. How does that work?
Hey, you're not supposed to ask questions about that.
Like a Jackie Chan kind of thing.
Yes.
Like you're just kicking the
Very skilled, yes.
knife out of the air.
Oh. Ah!
Behind. Go back. Go back. Go back.
Where's the payload?
Literally behind you. You're going away from it. The only thing I'm doing is healing Panda. I swear to God.
Oh my God! I cannot, bro.
2 seconds, Panda.
You just. Oh, this is the second time I have like a battle against this guy, and it's like, oh, can't land a shot on
Can
him.
we just talk about like I
No.
leave you for 2 seconds and you die?
But
Can we talk about that?
this is the second time I was battling a dude like that, and I don't like it.
Fair enough.
Nice. Time for the reckoning. Didn't do my did it.
I'm dead. Watch out, no healers. Or at least cat, but I don't think...
Melee into oblivion. Are you sniping me? That's crazy. Thank
My
you.
DPS isn't great anymore.
Thank you.
Should fix it. Don't worry.
Thank you.
We're going with the speed of sound.
Hey, we're going to Ibiza.
Copyright. Don't worry, I'm singing too badly for it. Yeah, I couldn't heal you while you're
It's
between
cool.
4 people.
You're good.
I'm sorry.
That was crazy.
They kind of catch the bullets.
It's so rude, huh, when I do that.
What, catching the bullets?
Yes.
Damn. I actually got thrown off the
Klunk.
point. I just see Panda coming in. Just.
Klunk.
Ah. With the sound as well.
Beep, 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 beep. Beacon gets it! Beacon gets it! No, 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 give it to Beacon! Oh man. I still don't understand this thing. This
It's
enforcement.
useless. Just to have fun, I guess.
It's so random.
What is that Zenyatta skin though? That's my question.
That's a crazy one. Solo, welcome in.
It looks like something that's like in Dragon Ball Z or something.
You wanna queue with us? Sure. Are you already in the game? I'll just open up a loot box real quick before we get you in here. You can hop into Discord VC if you want. Let me open up the loot box I just received. Oh, legendary! Old demon! Let's go!
Bold Demon, wait, for who is
That's
that?
a Orisa skin. I love it. It's a very cool skin.
Orisa skin.
Yeah. Legendary too.
Oh, is that the fully red one?
Nope.
Oh no, Bull Demon is the blue one.
Look at it.
That's not a bad one.
He's with purple and with the blue face and
Yeah,
the bull.
I mean,
nose ring.
I'm lightly colorblind. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not. Don't worry. I'm not colorblind. I'm
So,
just saying.
I have a voice line for you whenever you're in my stream.
For me?
Yeah, it's Anna with Children Behave.
Children behave.
I am confused. Are you saying that's to me?
Yeah. Whenever you're like,
to me?
I'm sorry, I cursed. They're like, children behave.
Oh yeah. I was thinking you meant for my.
Oh, like for you, as in,
just
okay,
like,
yeah, yeah. So,
that
what's up?
wouldn't make sense if nobody is ever in there. So. Also, hi.
Hey.
Let me up your voice a little bit. You're a bit low.
Yeah, I generally don't scream.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
He's the quiet guy.
Yeah, I
Nice.
am actually.
Nice.
Oh,
We
okay.
welcome all sorts.
Thank you.
Did you already add me? I just put my name in the chat.
Yeah, I just copied it. I'm fine.
Okay. I didn't think we would have this many people joining in. I love it. Usually if I play Overwatch, I'm just soloing because nobody wants to play.
Well, I'll have to break your heart soon, but because I actually have to go to work tomorrow.
No, me too. Oh shoot, it's this late. Okay, I can do one more game. Shit. So I have to work in the morning as well, so yeah.
I also loved how you started the stream with like, I'm kind of burned out. I'm gonna do a small stream, 2 hours and 30 minutes in.
I mean, I never said I was gonna do a small stream.
You didn't?
Nope.
I thought you said that.
No. But I was planning to end between 11:30 and 12. So.
Well, here we go.
Yeah. At least let's have one more game with Sol in there.
Yeah. Just wait. I'm on laptop, guys, so it's a bit slow.
No worries.
Oh,
no
no.
worries.
I mean, I'm on laptop too. Nothing's wrong with that. For me, it's only a $2,000 laptop with 2 CPUs and stuff. So I don't think you can call it a laptop anymore at this point.
Is that a game laptop?
Yeah, it is, and fucking expensive one as well. Sorry, I'm still cursing.
He said buck. He said buck.
Yeah, I said buck.
I sent you request.
There you go. Accept. I double accepted it.
Nice.
I don't know how, but
I kind of want to know what people would say if you're like at your workspace. Just say like, "What the buck?"
What the buck? I don't know.
Like, what would people say?
I don't know.
I'm kind of like wanting to test this tomorrow, but I'm on a new workspace, so I shouldn't.
You should. It's breaking ice. It's good. I don't know what I would pick.
The problem is I work with people with disabilities. Remember?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe that's making it extra funny for them.
Yeah. Sometimes
maybe they'll enjoy
won't
that.
Understand me, and they would be like, because I'm their lead. Remember?
Yeah.
So I'm just like cracking jokes already at the first few seconds. I don't think that's.
Hey, you to you, man.
I mean, am I?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Vote for a map then.
Damn. So we actually get to pick a map?
I mean,
for once? Or are we gonna be random again?
it's gonna be random probably again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't think the random makes sense.
I don't think it either. If you don't want a specific map, just don't vote.
Exactly. Well, what shall I play Sigma?
Up to you.
Like I kind of am a Dutch guy, so.
You know what? You know what you should do?
Uh-oh.
Play Diva.
But why?
Yo,
Because the gamer
I just started the game and this character is in? What?
Oh yeah,
What?
true. They just added a new
Yeah.
character.
That's the new character you're playing now.
It's new season.
Okay.
Wait, where's the basket?
Running clean and hot.
Oh, the other side.
Can we just talk real quick about when he says hello, his staff just does not exist anymore? His staff just kinda disappears.
Oh? Hey, what is this? What is my E?
What is your E? What do you mean?
E! E ability. Or maybe I should have put my shield on earlier. Oh shoot! Okay, so maybe I'll play Junker.
I never have a light of sight of you. And you just.
My throne is where I say it is.
Fast train behind.
Pick up your feet, Drombos.
I feel like this character isn't the best choice here. But my main healer is picked.
Hey, I got a dart on me.
Kinda stuck.
No!
Ooh. Damn.
Beat me! Like hell you will! Shake the grit out of your knickers and move!
Yeah, whatever she said.
What did she say?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Wait, where'd it go?
Nice. Flashing one.
Where did Shooter go? What did we do?
You heard me.
I didn't. That's why I'm asking.
Oh no! Come on!
That is it.
I'm dead. That's a bastion. We need something to kill that bastion.
The bastion?
But that doesn't happen. Yeah. The big robot dudes with the minigun.
Bastion dead.
Nice.
More of that.
Took only way too long.
2 more dead. Let's go. Catching that?
Nice. Just keep focusing like that and we should be fine.
Nice.
Got her.
Moira one. Bastion one.
Yep, Moira dead.
Nice.
What a team! What a team! Nice. Woo! Yeah. I just had to kill the bastion. Just had to kill the bastion.
My main goal is to kill the bastion.
Wow. Nope.
No.
She hit me just like I was literally almost around the corner.
No.
Get him, Daddy.
Yeah, I'm firstly gonna try to get away here.
Get him.
From Bastion. No.
I got stuck on a wall.
Not the wall. How dare they?
Bastion.
You're going in fully alone. Just so you know.
I just killed one. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but you're fully alone. There is nobody else alive.
Don't worry. I got heals. I don't. Never mind.
You don't have me.
I had it. We had overtime for the longest time. That was good.
Fair.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have overtime if I wouldn't go in there.
Fair enough. Still, I like how you were just like, I have heals. No, because everyone is dead.
No, I mean I have heals for myself.
We like the optimism.
You're not gonna kill 4 people. Let alone 5.
Sure, I will. They won't kill me. They will have bad aim at that point. They're so confused about me, about my boldness.
Why do I need to think about like one of those old cartoons like Mickey Mouse just walking past a guard just like, hi. Just
Looney Tunes.
Yes.
But I'm talking about like the old Looney Tunes where they still like actually used hammers too and made funny jokes, you know. Funny jokes.
Wait, where'd you go?
Where the children to go.
And the bastion. Oh, come on.
I tried.
It was Moira?
Yeah.
Moira got me in the end. No way to treat your queen.
All of us in the end.
Damn.
What did you just say? What did you just call me?
What? No!
What?
I got pushed off.
Oh, okay, you got pushed this time. I wanted to say, this is the second time, Panda. You okay?
No, this time it wasn't me. This time it was a GG. This time it was a well played.
Diva dead.
We are dead. We are so dead.
No, we're not. No! Again?
Well, now we're dude.
I got pushed again by the green guy.
You got pushed again.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, by the new person.
Maybe you should go to the other side then.
No, that's too smart.
You don't get pushed.
That's too smart.
That's too smart.
We don't do smart. This is not
That would
ranked.
be too helpful for
This is
us.
not ranked. We're not that smart,
Fair
right?
enough.
I might be on the point.
I made the push.
Let's go. Don't push me, girl. Don't push me. You'll regret it.
You're regretting it? What are you regretting? Like,
No, I said then you will regret it.
Okay.
Oh, they jumped off. Love it. Love it. He jumped off. He jumped off, it said. I was on someone on the point.
Like you before?
He was inspired, okay?
He was inspired by you. he wanted to chase his idol, dude. He wanted to become the great.
Remember when you pushed last time, Bastion? He was like, yep, I'm going back.
Diva might have ult, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, I just called it.
Why is everything lagging all of a sudden?
Because,
Yeah, well,
He didn't even get told if she did have ult.
guess my internet is saying me to go to bed. But that was an interesting.
Hello, Lucio. Got him. Hello, Bastion. Bye, bye, Bastion.
nice, well played.
Holy. Nope, 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 I'm dead. Oh!
Nice.
Good stuff, good stuff.
Holy.
That was crazy. Ah. Breathing again.
I feel a little bad. We're about to ruin their day.
We're about to ruin their day. That's such a good voice line.
What is that voice line?
It's too good.
You can keep up.
I never
I
gotten
do
the ball in the
I do
basket.
like his vibe. Like it's like he doesn't want to be here, but at the same time he's trying to be optimistic.
You trying to?
Yeah, apparently he is, and I'm just like, how the fuck does that make sense? I'm sorry again.
Dang. Behave, children.
I said fuck. I said fuck.
Wow! Boom! Ah! I think I died.
Bro, that auto lock-in is so dumb.
Auto lock in?
Yeah, that's like the aim thing that the new character does.
Oh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know what you mean.
She has aimbot, yeah. Just think about that. Well done.
Yeah. You thought.
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. Freaking Moira. Oh, it's Moira.
Why would they try to test the character before they come out, right?
Nah.
Wouldn't be fun enough.
Be crazy.
Claiming the objective.
There's a camera on me. I don't think she likes me.
You're embarrassing yourself.
Being rude at this point.
Are they embarrassing themselves?
Apparently.
But how do you know, Batman? How do you
I know how to be
they are
embarrassed by myself.
Definitely.
I'm a pro in that category. Well,
Oh, nice.
Oh, I cancelled their ultimate. Perfect.
And she lost it probably as well.
Oh, you did not like that either.
Nuh-uh, Moira.
Good job.
Oh, you're back. Oh, I got cooked.
Oh! Let's go! I got hold in there.
Bad enough.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, this goes crazy right now. Oh, they get super heal now.
Follow the beam. Just stay with the beam. Beam is friends. Zone is friend too.
But
Okay,
we're winning. It's crazy.
We cooked them.
Holy cannolis.
I just saw Panda fully going to like their spawn. I'm just like Panda.
Yeah, but it was fine. Let's go.
You were critical. That was
Oh wait, this is not you. This is the enemy guy.
Yeah, you're rooting for the enemy. What a...
Alright.
You're rooting for the guy that killed us.
Let's get
Wow.
let's
okay,
get
Panda.
let's get Sol the MVP. Final blows.
I mean, I think we all actually voted for him. Yeah.
Here you go.
Take the credit.
Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Thank you, thank you.
Jumping in for one game and then actually getting MVP as well. Nice. I'm sorry I have to go already. Thank you for hopping in though.
It's okay. It's okay, it's okay.
Go already?
Yeah.
You streamed for 3 hours, dude.
That's normal for me. Sometimes I go 4 or 5.
Exactly.
It's normal. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to get out of here. And have a great night. Thanks for playing the games.
You guys too.
Thanks
Have
for
a
the
great
games.
night.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Later. Bye.
Amazing peoples. Give a shout out to Beacon. Let's give a shout out to JD, even though he doesn't stream much anymore.
There we go. I dare done. Amazing. Let's get back to the game. I will save that and definitely post.
Nice. Come on for Daddy.
That call was taking longer than I
Thanks for the game. You're welcome. Thank you for joining in as well. So maybe we'll play some more next time. This Friday, I'm gonna probably try to collaborate with Helena a little bit. I'm gonna do a crazy pizza flipping gun game. Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird, but it's gonna be funny. But yeah, switch it up. It's this crazy sponsored game we got called American Cooking Simulator. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Yeah, that's all I'm saying about it. It's it's a questionable game. It's a questionable title for a questionable game. So you'll see me playing that on Friday. Do I have, let me see how many keys I got for that one. Because, oh wait, it's a demo, is it? Maybe it's free to play. Maybe you all can join in. Yeah, it's a demo. You all can join in, I think. So I'll give you the link for now. You're gonna check it out. If you're here on Friday, think about the same time, so like 2 hours before this. And look at the clock. I said, look, 2 hours earlier. This is the Steam game, yeah. It is sponsored. Sponsored thing. But yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna hop out. Let's see who we're gonna be raiding out to. Lena's still playing though. Let's raid Lena then. Let's raid Lena. Let's raid Lena. Alright, I'll try to join. Let's go. Let's go. That'd be funny. I don't know how many people you could play in that game though. Like how many people you can multiply the game? Co-op. What does it say? Doesn't say in Steam itself. Four players? Oh, that's nice. Because gonna be at least Helena and I. And then you can probably hop in. All right. Like I said, we're raiding out to Helena. Ooh, 13 viewers. Thank you so much for all chilling and hanging out here in the background. Appreciate you all. It's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this stream, so thank you guys so much for being here. Big shout out to all the people that join in on the games as well. Really kind people. And also with Kitty Cat for reviving me all the time in the game earlier. So Kitty Cat, thank you for that. Is Kitty Cat stream by any chance? It's a very long name, so probably not. Oh, they got a ban evasion. Oh, suspicious. All right. Those are 2 messages in the chat. You can copy them and paste them in the next chat. Oh, something went wrong when I clicked it by accident. Copy the things, and you'll make sure to paste them in that. Oh, we already rated out. Okay, bye bye. Nothing left to say, nothing I can say, but Pendleo. Outs.